I'm not going to unbox it. I've already been using it for a few months anyway, so there's really no point, is there? Hello, everybody. So I don't like the concept of an everyday camera, and everyday cameras are marketed as small, pocketable cameras that you can have with you every day when you go out. But I dislike the idea of an everyday camera for one specific reason, which is that I feel like when someone says, I'm going to buy an everyday camera, they're kind of limiting themselves by what they're going to get. But I think that of all the options out there for so-called everyday cameras, the best option out of all of them is this, the Ricoh GRiiX. And in this video, I want to talk about this camera. I want to talk about why I chose the GRiiX over the GR3 and the GR4, and kind of who this camera, in my opinion, is meant for and whether you should buy it or not buy it. It is a 24.2 megapixel APS-C CMOS sensor. It has the GR Engine 6. If you don't know what the GR Engine is, it's the processing unit that enables it to turn on so quickly and focus so quickly. And each generation of Ricoh camera has a new engine inside it. It has a 26.1 millimeter full frame sensor, which on the GRiiX translates to a 40 millimeter on APS-C. It has three-way stabilization in body. It's decent. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but we'll talk more about that later on. And a 3-inch touchscreen on the back, which again, we will also talk about later on. So this has been my daily driver camera for about 5-6 months now. I've taken it overseas. I've taken it on quite a few trips just around Australia. And it's been on me every single time I've left the house for the last 6 months. Kid you not. It has never left my side. And in those few months, I have found some things that I like about it and some things that I don't like about it. And we're going to go through those. I don't think any of them are deal breakers, any of the negatives are deal breakers, but I'll leave it up to you and see what you think. So let's start off with things that I like. The image quality is phenomenal. I have absolutely no problem taking photos with it. I've done portraits with it. I haven't done any commercial work, but I wouldn't be against doing product work with it. The image quality is very, very good. It is APS-C, so you can't crop in as much as you can on a full frame camera. But as a kind of general travel photo diary camera, it's really, really good. I have absolutely no problems with it. And some of my favorite photos that I've taken in the last 6 months have come out of this camera, whether it's been travel, whether it's been just around the house. I absolutely love the image quality. Could not be happier. Okay, so startup time. It is absolutely incredible. From the moment you hit the power button to when you are taking a photo is, well, I'll show you. That long. I don't know exactly how long it was. I think it's about a second and a half. So the next thing that I really, really like about this is the menu system. It's very simple, very clean. It's basically one long list, but it's divided into kind of 4 sections that make it very easy to find stuff. And what I like about that is there's only one thing anywhere in the list. So what I mean by that, on my Lumix, I might have 3 different places that I can edit picture style. With this, there's one place, which is very, very simple. I know exactly where everything I'm looking for is. So the next thing I want to talk about, speaking of picture style, is the film simulations in this camera. Ricoh historically has been a film company. They did film cameras, and they've kind of carried that over, very similar to what Fujifilm has done. They've carried that over into their digital lineup. And so the picture styles on Ricoh cameras are very, very good. And while I still edit a bit because I like being able to really tweak stuff. You don't need to. You can pretty much use the in-body picture styles and you're fine. That's all you need to actually use. And then also they have the Ricoh Recipes app, which is really, really good. And it tells you how to make your own recipes. There are people in the community that make them, upload them to Ricoh Recipes, and you can then put them onto your camera. My complaint with that is they're not all free, which I don't really like. I mean, I've bought the camera. I should be able to use the profiles. From what I know, Lumix has a very similar thing, but they're all free. So that's one of the only things I don't like about Ricoh, the fact that you have to kind of buy each preset that you want to put on your camera. And I'm a very fluid shooter, and I like being able to change quickly without having to pay for stuff. So this is being put in the stuff I like list, even though I don't really know where it should go, which is the in-body ND filter. This confuses me to a certain extent, because since it's not a video camera, I don't really know when I would use the ND filter, and since it's a set ND filter, I can't really use it for long exposures. When I usually use an ND filter is when I'm doing long exposure photography. But because I can't control how dark it gets, it's either on or off, I find myself using it very infrequently. Because when I'm doing just kind of walk around photography, I usually adjust my light by adjusting my shutter speed, since I like a nice fast shutter speed anyway. So for some people it might be useful. For me, I don't see myself using it on a regular basis at all, and I don't use it on a regular basis. But if a built-in ND filter is something that you value, then this camera has one. Okay, so we're getting into the stuff that I don't like now. The biggest one for me is the screen. It's very easy to use, it's very responsive, but it's fixed. I shoot very high, I shoot very low, and having a variable angle screen for me is very, very valuable. And when I was shopping for a new full-size camera, that was something that was really, really important to me. I really wish that this camera had a variable angle screen. I understand why they didn't do it. It would have made it a lot bigger, a lot heavier. You would have been getting into kind of Lumix S9 territory in that case. But I do wish that it had a variable angle screen. It's a dream. I understand why they didn't do it, but still. So moving on to the next thing that I wasn't a huge fan of, and it's not so much a dislike as it is a fixable issue. I found it a little hard to keep a grip on it. My hands are quite big, and oddly, having big hands and trying to hold something this size is a little bit difficult without pressing all the wrong buttons at the wrong time. So, even though it has this raised grip, which I really, really like, I did find it a little bit difficult to keep a hold of. I fixed that very simply by getting this metal thumb tab off of AliExpress, and also off of AliExpress this wrist strap that I just put around my wrist when I am holding it. Usually it's just in my kind of shoulder bag, but if I'm having it in my hand, I have that wrist strap on. So the next thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the lens. Now, to keep the size down, they did an extending lens that when you turn it on, it goes out. Like so. And then when you turn it off, it tucks back in. I like that from a form factor. It makes it very small and very pocketable. The issue for me is that it does collect grub and dust around that function. And so you just kind of have to wipe it off. This is something that I heard in a bunch of other reviews when I was looking at cameras to buy. For me, it's not a huge issue, but for people who are like super, super, super pedantic about keeping their gear clean, it might drive you a little bit insane. But for me, it's not a huge issue. So, to summarize, if you are looking for a small, lightweight, very high quality, very good build quality camera with very good image quality for kind of a photo diary, for travel, for kind of daily shooting, for street photography. I genuinely think you cannot do better than this. The only thing that I would say is if you are the kind of person who likes zoom lenses or who uses them on a regular basis, this probably isn't for you. But that said, when I bought this camera, I was a die-hard zoom lens fan. I absolutely love them. I basically wouldn't shoot with a lens unless it was a zoom lens. This camera convinced me to switch to prime lenses. You feel so much freer, really weirdly, with a prime lens. It forces you not to overthink. You can just take the photo and that's what you've got. Zoom lenses, for me, are now kind of annoying. I would so much prefer to just use a prime lens. So, in summary, the summary of the summary, if you're someone who wants a camera on you at all times, you cannot go wrong with this. That's all I have to say. It really is the perfect camera.